Age of Wonders 4's Thrones of Blood DLC is bringing all new vampire content with it, but alongside the new DLC comes a massive free game update, the Gargoyle update, that brings an improved and overhauled game experience for both new and returning players. Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Andy, and you might know me from my two YouTube channels, Andy's Paradox and Andy's Take. Today, I'm collaborating with Paradox to bring you information on the most important major features in the Gargoyle update. So find yourself a nice ledge to perch on and let's get going. One of the major features of the Gargoyle update is the new onboarding experience, meaning how new players are introduced to the game through tutorials and advice. This means that whether you find yourself in the menu about to jump into your first realm and either choose or create your own faction, new and updated advice messages are displayed. Importantly, and even more relevant for new players, is the fact that the in-game tutorial has been vastly fleshed out, not just giving a brief overview of the main controls and such, but offering a wide variety of information on every aspect of the game, and doing so in an easily digestible way. And perhaps the best part, an all-new and immersive voiceover makes following along easier than ever before.
Some city structures can be boosted to make them cheaper and faster to produce. Check the structure's tooltip to see the boost conditions.
You may choose to get more help with specific sections and dynamically receive information when you click on an aspect you haven't clicked on before. You can of course turn off advice if you wish to do so, but if you ever need help again, the button for that is never far away, conveniently and easily allowing you to see which pieces of advice you have read earlier and which sections of the game you have yet to get help with. In other words, the Gargoyle update makes Age of Wonders 4 easier than ever to get into and learn. And if you happen to be an experienced player who forgot a thing or two, well, it will for sure come in handy for you as well. The next major feature is a rework of the Dark Culture and its leading cults. You may now choose between two cults, the Cult of Tyranny and the Cult of Death. The Cult of Tyranny is all about strength and domination, so in battle, your units will automatically weaken enemy status resistance and even have a 90% base chance of inflicting status vulnerability on their adjacent enemies. One of the reworked units for the Cult of Tyranny is the Tier 3 shock unit Tyrant Knight, whose entirely new ability, Trample, not only deals physical damage to the enemy, but displaces and replaces their position on the battlefield, knocking them out of defense mode and makes them lose retaliations. Not only do adjacent enemy units have a 90% chance of suffering weakened for 3 turns, but your Tyrant Knight even gains defense mode after everything is said and done. And the new passive ability Despotic Vitality heals it for plus 15 HP for each adjacent enemy unit, making the Tyrant Knight a highly unpredictable enemy. When you capture a foreign hero that belongs to a city-state, that hero will be sent to your prison, where they will count as a Whispering Stone for the relevant city-state, meaning that you can actually increase allegiance and vassalize a city-state through aggressive hostage diplomacy. With all new units that specialize in breaking their enemy spirits, new city structures, and new research skills like tyrannical exploitation, which allows you to target a vassal city to, instead of gaining allegiance, getting a 20% vassal income increase for each point of allegiance gain. That is quite powerful. The other Cult of the Dark is the Cult of Death, which differentiates itself from Tyranny by being less about domination to focusing more on critical strikes, sacrifice, and the general theme of death. On the campaign map, the Cult of Death makes use of their embalming feature, a resource created from sacrificing heroes in your crypt. These embalmed sacrifices can be used to construct city structures or cast powerful strategic spells to empower your armies. In other words, whereas the Cult of Tyranny exploits imprisoned heroes to dominate foreign city-states and vassals, the Cult of Death takes advantage of imprisoned heroes by sacrificing them and using the resources made to empower themselves, whether that be their cities or their armies. The Cult of Death also offer their own city structures, units, and research skills like Morbid Sacrifice, which costs 1 embalmed sacrifice to use, but which restores the health of your entire army, boosts their morale, and provides them universal camouflage for 3 turns. Unique to the Cult of Death is, among other new units, the Tier 3 fighter unit, Deathstalker, who actually replaces the Tyrant Knight for the Cult of Death. Their new ability, Deathstalk, is a single-shot melee action that targets an enemy unit in range 3 that not only displaces and replaces the target, but it deals a base damage output while having the fatality trait, meaning that your damage output is increased based on the target's already lost HP. But that's not all, because with the two passive abilities, Fatebringer and Blessed End, Deathstalkers gain plus 5% critical hit damage for each stack of Mortal Blessing, which they get every time a unit is killed, making it a potentially deadly powerhouse, especially the more units participate in the battle and the longer it goes on. The Cult of Death then is all about hitting hard and where it counts, so if you want to try a sometimes risky playstyle that pays off heavily when done right, this is the cult for you. Other additions in the free update includes entirely new Pantheon content, mainly related to the vampire aesthetic, and especially cool is the vampire outfit that comes in 3 different pieces, and I'm personally also partial to the Hunter's Rapier and Whip item. Remember that Pantheon items are items you unlock through gaining experience in your campaigns, and these rewards can then be used in your campaign for that ultimate customizable playthrough. This also includes new abilities for the Item Forge Infusion, including the powerful Wail of the Banshee, which heavily reduces enemy morale and applies Weakened, and the Pull Shot ability, which both deals damage to a target and pulls that target adjacent to the acting unit when possible. Finally, from the Pantheon, we got 2 new banner icons, namely the Chalice and the Stake and Mallet. The Gargoyle update is massive then, but that's not all, because the update comes with countless fixes, tweaks, and quality of life additions that are sure to make your Age of Wonders 4 experience the best it can be. In other words, this is the best time to jump back into Age of Wonders 4 or try it for the first time if you haven't already, as both the Thrones of Blood DLC and the free Gargoyle update bring fresh new experiences for everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the Age of Wonders 4 YouTube channel for more, and consider checking out our videos on the major features and aspects of the Thrones of Blood DLC. Until next time, and on behalf of Paradox, I am Andy from Andy's Paradox, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!